Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, Indiana women's basketball picked up another conference win.
And wrestling finished their regular season with a win. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Ethan Bonner.
And I'm Lauren Wainwright. So Ethan, Big Ten basketball tournament's coming up. How are you feeling about it?
Feeling good. I'm excited to watch it. Men's got 3 games left, women's got 2. But first, we'll start with the men's. Men's basketball fell to Northwestern on Tuesday night in their 3rd straight loss. Our Grace Lesher has the recap.
Indiana basketball fell to Northwestern here in Assembly Hall on Tuesday night. The game started off back and forth between the two teams, although Indiana was able to quickly pull away and go into the second half ahead with a score of 42-33.
Thought we had a good little stretch going. We got the lead built up to 11 there in the first half, and I thought we had some opportunities there to really press that thing open. And a lot of times it's come down to second chance opportunities, things like that. They get a put back, maybe a couple empty possessions in there too.
Once the second half began, Northwestern was able to cut it closer, largely thanks to the current Big Ten leading scorer, Nick Martinelli. Martinelli finished with 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists for the Wildcats. After a quiet first half, Martinelli had 21 of his points in the second. The game remained close, with each team battling until the end. The second leading scorer in the Big Ten, Indiana's Lamar Wilkerson, finished with 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, but it would not be enough for a Hoosier win. Northwestern would be the one to walk away with the win and a final score of 72-68.
As a bunch of group of seniors, man, we got to be better. Me personally, I have to be better at leading this team, stepping up, we could have made some plays down the stretch that could have helped us.
This loss brings Indiana to a 17-11 overall record and 8-9 in conference play. They will look to get back in the win column on Sunday as they face number 13 Michigan State here in Assembly Hall. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Grace Lesher.
With 3 regular season games left, Indiana basketball will look to reclaim momentum as they face Michigan State on Sunday at 3:45 here in Bloomington.
Indiana women's basketball continued its winning ways in the month of February on Sunday against Oregon. Our Jet Garrett has more.
Indiana women's basketball entered the month of February 0-10 in Big Ten play. Since then, they've won 4 of their last 6 games and have clawed their way back into the Big Ten tournament.
They kept their heads down and they kept trying to do what we were asking them to do. They've continued to show up. They never packed it in.
Despite the success in the month of February, adversity has not escaped Indiana. They're coming off an 0-2 road trip out west against USC and UCLA and battled a scoreless third quarter on Sunday against Oregon.
We had a rough third quarter as a team. A lot of emotions definitely after. I had a couple tears in the beginning. Just to be able to get a win and play with these girls, it definitely feels surreal.
One of the most pivotal parts of this entire Indiana roster has been senior guard Shea Chesky, who was honored here today for Senior Day in Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Despite a slow first 3 quarters, she finished with 20 points, including 11 in the fourth quarter.
I definitely felt it for sure. Our fans got pretty loud, and I think that's a huge reason why we got that fourth quarter to go our way.
Chesky finished with 20 points on 6 of 15 shooting, along with 6 rebounds and 6 assists. It's the 3rd time in the last 5 games that Chesky's had at least 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists.
We've gone to her a lot of times this season. She's going to have to keep doing it the rest of the season, too.
The Hoosiers had 4 players in double figures. One of those players was Adessa Noyan, who finished with 18 points on 7 for 11 shooting.
I just feel like I've found my place in the team. Everybody's trusting me more. I trust myself more. Everything's clicking now.
Indiana is looking to close out the month of February the same way that they started it, on a 3-game win streak. First up, they'll have Rutgers on the road on Wednesday before returning home to Simon Scott Assembly Hall for the final game of the regular season against Penn State.
I'm proud of this team. Every day has just been a challenge for sure. That's probably the biggest thing that I see with my season, what this team has done and how they affected me.
For IUSTV Sports, I've been Jet Garrett.
With just 2 games remaining on Indiana's schedule, the Hoosiers look to close out the regular season with 2 wins to qualify for the Big Ten tournament.
Last week in Minneapolis, the number 6 ranked Indiana women's swimming and diving team finished 2nd at the 2026 Big Ten Championships. They scored 1,084 points, putting them just behind champion Michigan and ahead of Ohio State. Freshman Liberty Clark, Alex Shackle, Grace Hoper, and senior Christina Pagel led the Hoosiers, setting multiple program records and winning the 400-yard freestyle relay with a time of 3:07.72. It was a new Big Ten and program record. Clark was the top performer, medaling in 7 events and scoring 92 points, tying for the most individual points in the conference. Shackle also broke the program record in the 100-yard butterfly, and junior Mackie Hodges earned a bronze in the 200-yard backstroke. Divers Ella Rosselli and Mary Kate Kavanaugh helped secure high placings in platform events, and several Hoosiers earned all Big Ten honors. The championship performance put IU in strong position for the NCAA Zone C diving championships in March, with Clark, Shackle, and the 400 free relay team automatically qualifying for the NCAA meet in Atlanta.
Number 21, Indiana Wrestling closed out the dual season in dramatic fashion Friday night, rallying past Purdue 20-16 inside Wilkinson Hall. IUSTV reporter Kenny Bruntlett was there for the rivalry showdown.
Inside Wilkinson Hall, it was senior night, rivalry night, and Big Ten wrestling at its best. It started with number 14 Jacob Moran, who delivered one last show in Bloomington. A 21-5 tech fall at 125 pounds to give Indiana the early lead. But Purdue answered, taking 2 straight matches to swing momentum and grab a 7-5 advantage. But with the crowd on its feet, Joey Butler flipped the script. Trailing late, Butler shot in on a single leg and scored a takedown in the final seconds to secure a 5-4 decision, bringing Wilkinson Hall to life.
When the odds were almost against him, he found a way to win, and the fans were right at every step, encouraging him, yelling. He gets to take down, the fans go crazy. It's like when you're a wrestler and you feel that energy and momentum, it's like, I want to wrestle just like that, and I want to win for these fans.
Still, after 165 pounds, Indiana trailed 13-8. That's when the Hoosiers responded. Derek Gilcher controlled his bout at 174. Sam Goen followed with a 7-1 decision at 184. And then came the moment of the night. Number 21, Gabe Sollers needed bonus points and delivered. A takedown, getting straight on top, and 54 seconds in, the pin. The 20-16 win marks Indiana's 4th straight over Purdue and gives the Hoosiers 9 dual victories, their most in nearly a decade. But for Escobedo, this is just the beginning.
For us and this team, it's like we're not done yet. We still got Big Tens, we still got NCAAs. We want to get guys on the podium at Nationals, so that's great, nine wins, but we know what's ahead of us, Big Ten tournament and NCAAs.
With momentum heading into the postseason, Indiana closes the dual season at 9-5, with a message that this program is still climbing. Reporting from Wilkinson Hall, I'm Kenny Bruntlett for IUSTV.
Indiana's regular season may be over, but the matches that define the team are still ahead, starting with the Big Ten championships at the Bryce Jordan Center in State College, Pennsylvania.
Coming up after the break, we crown this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week.
And Indiana hockey wraps up their season. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Night.
Now joining us in studio for this week's Hoosier Highlight is our very own Julian Prescott.
Thanks, guys. The IU women's basketball team has been on a rough road of a season this year, but through it all, there's been one player who continues to show day in and day out that she can dominate the court against anyone. Shea Chesky. And last weekend on Sunday, it was no different. The Hoosiers welcomed the Oregon Ducks to town, where Chesky and Journey Keaku would get honored prior to the game during senior night. Chesky has been the leader for this team all season long, averaging 23.1 points a game. That is tied for the first in the Big Ten in that category. She's 5th in the NCAA in three-point percentage, shooting 46% from beyond the arc. One thing is for certain, if you leave her open, she will make you pay dearly. In the Hoosiers' win against Oregon, she put up 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. In that game, she exceeded the milestone of 1,000 points as a Hoosier, making this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week, Shay Chesky. Back to you guys.
Indiana baseball returned to action at Xavier for a Wednesday afternoon game following a 1-2 weekend down in Jacksonville. It was a beautiful day for baseball in the Queen City of Cincinnati. In the bottom of the second inning, Xavier's Luke Hammond placed the first run with the sacrifice fly to right field, giving the Musketeers an early 1-0 advantage through 2 innings. After that, Indiana's Jacob Vogel stranded runners on the corners. That score would hold until the 4th inning when Cincinnati area native Jake Hanley roped a single to left, scoring Braden Ricketts to tie the game at 1. The Hoosiers were not done in the inning. Bases were loaded for Aiden Krause, and he came through with a single and part of a 4-run frame that gave the Hoosiers a 4-1 lead. In the 6th inning, Jake Hanley singled his 3rd run of the game as Indiana took down Xavier 10-4 for its 3rd win of the season. Hanley and the Hoosiers will head down to Bowling Green, Kentucky on Friday for a weekend set with Western Kentucky. Follow myself and the rest of the IUSTV beat reporters for all things Indiana baseball.
Indiana softball is down south for their 3rd weekend in a row, competing in the USF tournament. The Hoosiers started the weekend strong, winning their first 3 games against Colgate, St. Joseph's, and Boston College. The Hoosiers outscored their opponents 30-10. They wrapped up the weekend splitting a pair of games with the University of South Florida. The first of the 2 was a close game, with the Hoosiers losing 5-3 in a tough-fought battle. Despite the loss in the first matchup, the Hoosiers bounced back in a big way, defeating USF 11-1. Indiana scored 9 runs in the 5th inning alone, with 7 different Hoosiers recording an RBI. Indiana ended the weekend with a 4-1 overall record. They will wrap up their Southern tour with a trip to North Carolina this weekend.
This weekend, Indiana hockey wrapped up their season in regionals against Tennessee. The loss ended their season and their hopes of skating in nationals. The game started slow for both teams. Jake Rock got the first goal on the board for IU in the 2nd period before letting up 3 goals in about 3 minutes. Indiana stormed back for a quick pair of goals separated by just 24 seconds to tie it up with a little over 3 remaining in the middle period. However, Tennessee would quickly respond with a goal of their own, and after outshooting IU 20-8 in the 3rd period, the Vols would add 2 more goals in the 3rd to take the 6-3 victory over IU. A tremendous season for IU hockey officially comes to a close.
The Indiana women's golf team competed in the Chevron Collegiate in Humboldt, Texas, where they took 9th place. This was the Hoosiers' best tournament since the start of the spring season. While the Hoosiers did not have a golfer finish with a total score below par, they got solid production from all 5 of their golfers. Madison DiBaggia led the way for the Hoosiers, climbing 20 spots in the final round of play. She shot 2 under par in round 3 and finishes 33rd in the individual standings. The Hoosiers head to Augusta in 2 weeks for the Augusta Valspar Invitational.
Now joining us with this week's Candy Stripe Calendar Report is IUSTV's Kenny Bruntlett. Kenny?
Thanks, guys. The weather is finally starting to warm up here in Bloomington, and so is the action for Indiana athletics. Starting out up in Madison, Wisconsin, men's swimming and diving is competing at the Big Ten Championships, while track and field looks to make some noise at the Big Ten Conference meet in Indianapolis. Baseball is on the road for a full weekend series against the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, including a Saturday doubleheader, before wrapping things up on Sunday. Then, softball is finishing its 3rd straight week on the road, playing in North Carolina with tournament play starting Friday before making their home debut next week against Minnesota. And finally, on Sunday, Indiana men's basketball is set to host the number 13 Michigan State Spartans. If the Hoosiers want a spot in the tournament, this is a major step. Protecting home court and knocking off a top 15 team would prove to many that this team is capable of playing in March. A big road series, conference championships, and a top 15 matchup right here in Bloomington. Not a bad way to spend the weekend. But until next time, back to you guys.
Thanks, Kenny. And that's our show for the week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports to keep up with all the latest in IU athletics. For our production crew behind us, I'm Lauren Wainwright.
And I'm Ethan Bonner. We'll see you next week.